Most business owners start with a dream. They think about the name, the logo, the website, the product, the service, and the money they want to make. They sign contracts, open the doors, take customers, hire help, use personal vehicles, store equipment, collect payments, and handle customer information without asking one simple question. What do I need first to protect this business before something goes wrong? The point is, many owners skip the foundation, which is business insurance. Now, stay with me until the end because the first policy is important, but the first policy is not the whole plan. If you build your business insurance the wrong way in the beginning, you may create gaps that follow you as the business grows. So let's get started. Before I talk about the specific business insurance policies, I want to let you know this is going to be one of my longer videos because I'm going to go a bit in depth on the different types of business insurance policies your business might need. So if there's a certain topic you'd like to focus on, feel free to use the timestamps below to move forward or to go back and review a particular section. Now let's frame this the right way. Every business owner needs the foundation of business insurance. And the first step is understanding your risk. Business risk simply means the things that could cost you and your company money, damage your reputation, stop your income, or even create legal trouble. For a small business owner, that could be a customer slipping and getting hurt, damage to someone else's property, a contract requiring proof of insurance, an employee getting injured, a data breach, a work mistake, or a vehicle accident while driving for business. This is why today, Business 101 is not about making sales. It's about Business Insurance 101 in order to protect the business you're trying to build. And the first coverage most owners must understand is general liability insurance, which leads us to our first step in building the foundation. This is the coverage that comes first, and that is general liability insurance. Often the starting point for small business insurance because it protects you against third-party claims. Third party simply means someone outside your business. That could be a customer, vendor, landlord, visitor, or another business. General liability may help protect your business. If someone claims bodily injury, property damage, or certain personal injury claims like slander or advertising injury. For example, if a customer trips at your office or vendor booth and gets hurt, that could become a general liability claim. If you damage a client's property while performing your work, that could become a general liability claim too. And here is something new business owners need to hear. Many contracts, vendor events, commercial leases, and job sites require proof of general liability insurance before you can even set up or start working. A common requirement is $1 million per occurrence and $2 million aggregate. You may hear that called $1 million, $2 million coverage. The occurrence limit is what the policy may pay for one covered claim. The aggregate limit is the total the policy may pay during the policy term. That does not mean every business needs the exact same limits, but it does mean you need to understand what your contracts, industry, and the risk level required for any services rendered. Now, once you understand general liability, the next step is knowing whether you need a business owner's policy. A business owner's policy, often called a BOP for short. Keep in mind that a BOP bundles key business insurance coverages into one policy. A BOP usually includes general liability insurance and business property insurance. Depending on the policy, it may also include business interruption coverage. Business property insurance helps protect the physical items your business depends on, such as equipment, inventory, furniture, computers, tools, supplies, and sometimes the building, if you own it. Business interruption coverage may help replace lost income if your business has to temporarily close because of a covered event, such as a fire or certain storm damage. This matters because many owners only think about lawsuits. But your business also needs protection for the things that help you operate every day. If your equipment is damaged, your inventory is destroyed, or your location is shut down after a covered loss, liability coverage alone may not be enough. That is why the right starting point may not be one single policy. It may be a BOP that gives you a broader foundation. Now let's move from customers and property to employees. If your business has employees, workers' compensation insurance becomes one of the most important coverages to review. Workers' compensation helps cover medical expenses, lost wages, and rehabilitation costs if an employee gets hurt on the job. It also helps protect the employer from certain lawsuits connected to workplace injuries. Each state handles workers' compensation differently. Some states require it once you hire your first employee. Some rules depend on the number of employees, industry, ownership structure, or whether the worker is full-time, part-time, seasonal, or a family member. And in some states, including Ohio, workers' compensation is handled through a state-run system instead of a traditional private insurance carrier. So do not guess on this one. If you are hiring employees, even part-time help, you need to understand your state requirements before there's an injury, audit, fine, or denied contract. After employees, the next question is whether your business provides advice, expertise, design, planning, consulting, or professional services. If you do, you may need professional liability insurance. This is also known as errors and omissions insurance, or E&O. Now here's the difference. General liability usually deals with bodily injury and property damage, but professional liability deals with financial harm caused by your work, advice, a mistake, missed deadline, any oversight, or failure to deliver a service as promised. This coverage is important for consultants, accountants, bookkeepers, real estate professionals, IT providers, marketing agencies, coaches, designers, and many service-based businesses. Let me keep this simple. If people pay you for your knowledge, your advice, your plan, your service, or your professional opinion, general liability may not be enough. A client does not have to be right or have any justification to sue you, even if the claim is false. You may still have to pay legal defense costs. That is why professional liability can be a critical part of a business insurance plan. Now, let's talk about a risk that keeps growing every year. Cyber liability insurance helps protect businesses from losses connected to cyber attacks, data breaches, phishing, ransomware, and compromised customer information. A lot of small business owners think they are too small to be targeted. But smaller businesses can be attractive targets because they often have fewer security controls, limited IT support, and employees who may not be trained to spot scams. If you collect names, phone numbers, addresses, payment information, social security numbers, medical information, financial information, or client records, cyber risk should be on your radar. And let's keep it real. We are in the information economy, where it is a must to track client activity in order to retain clients and find upsell opportunities to continue to grow your business. This is why cyber liability may help with customer notification, forensic IT support, legal expenses, data recovery, public relations, and certain regulatory issues depending on the policy. And remember, cyber risk is not limited to online businesses. A contractor, church, salon, medical office, nonprofit, restaurant, real estate office, or home-based business can still have cyber exposure. Next, let's talk about how your business moves, primarily through the use of vehicles. The most common mistake is that many business owners use their personal car, truck, or van for business and assume their personal auto policy will respond if there is a claim, and some owners are willing to take the chance if they do know in order to save money. That can be a costly assumption, especially if there is a serious claim against you. If you use a vehicle to visit clients, transport tools, deliver products, travel between job sites, move supplies, or support business operations, you may need commercial auto insurance. Commercial auto insurance is designed for vehicles used in business. It can provide higher liability limits and coverage that fits business use. This is especially important if the vehicle is titled to the business, wrapped with business branding, used by employees, or used to generate income. The key point is simple. If the vehicle helps make money for the business, you need to make sure the insurance policy matches how the vehicle is actually used. Allow me to bring the business insurance components together by sharing a realistic example. Imagine a small cleaning business just getting started. The owner has a few commercial clients, stores supplies at home, drives to job sites in a personal vehicle, accepts payments online, and plans to hire part-time help. At first, the owner thinks general liability is all they need, but after a proper review, the picture changes. General liability is needed because the business works inside client buildings and could accidentally damage property. Business property coverage may be needed for supplies, equipment, and cleaning machines, not to mention adding inland marine property coverage if those supplies are being transported to different job sites in order to protect against theft or damage. Moving on. Workers' compensation may be needed once employees are hired, in which it may be required in some states or sold exclusively by the state. In the case of Ohio, North Dakota, Washington, and Wyoming. Then there is commercial auto, which may be needed because vehicles are being used for business operations, which leads to cyber liability, which may be needed because the owner stores customer records, emails, invoices, and accepts electronic payments. And if the owner gives professional cleaning process recommendations to commercial clients, there may even be professional liability exposure depending on the services offered. That is why I tell business owners not to buy insurance based only on the cheapest quote. You need coverage based on how the business actually operates. Keep in mind, before you buy or renew a policy, here's what I recommend every business owner review. First, review your contracts. Look for required limits, additional insured wording like waiver of subrogation, request for certificates of insurance, and know the base or mandatory coverage requirements. Second, review your business property. List your equipment. Know your inventory of tools, computers, furniture, supplies, and anything else the business depends on. Third, understand workers' comp in your state. Then review your people. If you have employees, subcontractors, seasonal help, or family members helping, make sure you understand how that affects workers' compensation and liability. Fourth, review your vehicles. Be honest about how cars, trucks, vans, and trailers are used for the business. Yes, there is an added cost, but it outweighs a serious claim. And your most serious and potentially fatal claims come from vehicle exposure. Fifth, review your data. If you store client information, accept payments, use cloud software, or rely on email, cyber liability deserves attention. Guess what? This applies to small business too. Sixth, review your income. Ask how long your business could survive if a covered loss forced you to close for a few weeks or months. This is how you move from guessing to building a real protection plan. Now, let's make this practical by talking about common mistakes. Mistake number one is assuming a personal policy covers business activity. For example, a homeowner's policy, renter's policy, or a personal auto policy may have serious limitations or exclusions for business use. Mistake number two is buying the cheapest policy without checking exclusions. A low premium can look good until a claim is denied because the business activity was not covered. Mistake number three is ignoring contract requirements. If a contract requires specific coverage and you do not have it or not willing to pay for the extra liability expense, you could lose the job or breach the agreement. Mistake number four is failing to update coverage as the business grows. A business with no employees, no vehicles, and no inventory has a different risk profile than a growing business with staff, equipment, contracts, and multiple locations. Mistake number five is not working with someone who understands how to build coverage around the business model, like myself. Because insurance should not be random. It should match the way your business makes money, serves customers, uses property, hires people, and handles risk. So what does every business owner need first? You need clarity by understanding your risks, your contracts, your property, your people, your vehicles, your data, and your income. From there, you can build the right business insurance foundation. For many owners, that starts with general liability insurance. For others, it may be a business owner's policy, workers' compensation, professional liability, cyber liability, commercial auto, or a combination of coverages. You don't have to buy every policy available, just the protection your business needs with the right coverages included. Now, if this content was helpful, place a thumbs up in the comments section. This really helps with engagement and assists with pushing out this video to others. Also, word of mouth is good too. So please share this content with someone who may benefit from this topic. Then check out my video library. I have information on home, auto, business, specialty insurance, and retirement. With all this being said, subscribe to my channel and help me get to 1,000 subscribers. But don't stop here. Check out my next video on your left for more insurance and financial tips. And as I like to say, call Jay today.